Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Anecdotal Economist, and today I want to talk about some of the top 3 things that nobody tells you about stacking. Let's get into it. I got in a nice big gold order. Okay, that didn't come out the way I thought it would. That's where it comes from.
Here, pick it up, feel it, tell me what you think.
No other mint has this issue.
The triangle has replaced the British pound.
Like little trading cards.
That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
So do you ever have buyer's remorse? Anybody made some mistakes? You either bought the right thing at the wrong time or the wrong thing at the wrong time, which is even worse. People maybe led you astray by trying to show you some fancy collectible coins. Or maybe you paid too much for a premium on an eagle because they were too popular at the time. By the way, this is why I'm going to do a video soon on why you shouldn't wear cotton gloves. They're actually really bad. I'm using them right now because it's all I have, but I'm getting more plastic gloves in soon. I just haven't been on it. So anyways, let's talk about reason number 1. But before I do, I just want to thank you so much. I have just hit 1,776 subscribers. And if you don't know why that number is important, well, maybe Google it. But I want to say thank you so much for getting me there. I appreciate all the subscriptions in the last couple of weeks. It means a lot. And moving into the first reason. First reason is it's a long game. You don't get into precious metals purchases because you think you're just going to make a quick buck, or the economy is going to end and crash tomorrow and all of a sudden your gold and silver will be worth a ton of money. No, it takes a long time. This is a slow-moving economy. Just to put in perspective, the great financial crisis of 2008, well, from top to bottom, that housing crash took 5 years. And they call it a crash. Well, it's not like an airplane crash that happens in a few minutes. We are talking about a very slow-moving animal. And so you got to keep that in perspective. And I know that people say this kind of thing. It's not like, oh, nobody ever tells you this. But they don't have a way to convey this with words. There's no way to describe to someone what it feels like to have 3, 4, 5 years where silver goes down or gold just sort of flatlines and does nothing. In fact, it did go down for, I think, 3 years straight. 2011 to 2015, I think, was the total time that gold went down. And that's really hard. Nobody conveys to you just how difficult that truly is to sit in that position and say to yourself, man, did I make the wrong decision? But you've got to keep the long game in mind. And in addition to that, that should help guide your purchases. Don't buy something that you plan on selling. I have some very good friends that bought a lot of silver and some gold as well during COVID. Everybody thought things were going crazier during COVID, and they did, but there was a lag, and they bought in, weren't satisfied after a couple of years with the gains, and decided to move into another investment. I have no issue with that. That's one of the beautiful things about gold and silver. It's liquid, gold more so if you want to sell in the short term. You can sell out and you can do something else with your money, but if you do it too quickly, you don't recover the premium, and if you don't stay disciplined, you miss out on the gains. You buy high and sell low, and that's not what we want to do. So that is my first of 3. My second thing that nobody tells you when you first get in stacking gold and silver is that there is no right answer. Things are always changing. People ask me all the time in comments, well, should I look at sovereign? Should I look at only sovereign from my country? Or should I look at something from the Congo? Should I get a collector's item? Should I get cool things that I want to get? Should I even buy physical at all? Should I maybe just buy ETFs or have it stored at my house or in a bank? Or there's so many different things to think about. So I just want to say you need to continually educate yourself. And people don't tend to say that, I think. In a lot of videos, people say this is what you should do or that is what you should do. And while what they're saying is usually right, I could name a lot of YouTube channels that give very good and sound advice. We have to remember that things change. Even in the last few years, we went from a period of time where silver eagles were a terrible thing to buy to where they were a great thing to buy. The same can be said of constitutional silver. It comes in and out of vogue for a number of different reasons. And so I've just got to say, and even between gold and silver, right? Sometimes you might bias more towards silver, sometimes more towards gold. It depends on your circumstances. It depends on the market. It depends. So nothing I say on this channel is ever law. I am not the be all end all. The market is made up of millions of people, and the market decides what things are worth. And so that's something I think you got to keep in mind, especially as a newer stacker. And if there's some vets in the comments, let some of the newer guys know how to run things. So one more thing I'd like to talk about in terms of what nobody tells you about stacking and kind of how to avoid buyer's remorse is what's a bad purchase? People never tell you about their bad purchases, especially on YouTube, but even if you're talking to friends or family, people don't like to tell about their bad purchases. And so I'm gonna use two examples here. Okay, first example is I paid, I believe, $100 an ounce for this 1 ounce silver coin, and I did it twice. Okay, we're gonna look at these in a minute. That is a bad decision. Generally speaking, I don't see a scenario where that's a good decision. If you do that 5 times, you might win 1 out of 5 times, but you're probably not gonna win enough to come out ahead. You're gonna generally lose when you overspend on collectibles. Collectibles are okay, but you gotta watch how much you pay. You gotta be really careful, and that takes time. You gotta make mistakes and learn. Okay, so I don't have remorse over that, but I'm just gonna say I've bought some collectibles that, well, let's just say they weren't winners in terms of financial gain. But here's the good news. If I had spent that money on something else, most likely it would have cost me even more. At the end of the day, this is still probably going to be $50 an ounce by the time I ever think about selling it, or more. You never know. The other portion, the other story I want to share about buyer's remorse is a family member of mine who purchased a lot of silver at the peak at the wrong time back in 2008. I think it was right around 2010, 2011, 2012 that they made the bulk of their precious metal purchases. And they got so frustrated, so disappointed with the performance that they ended up deciding that they were never gonna buy any more metals again. They didn't sell what they had, but they said, you know what, this is dumb, I'm done with precious metals, and they moved on. And here's the crazy thing. They bought at the top and then they didn't buy in the time that they should have been buying. Now the good news is the story has a happy ending. Many years later, if you look at the prices today, it didn't really matter when you bought. No, you're not as well off as if you had bought investments, but I don't think this is really about investments. This is more about making good financial decisions and having savings. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes as an investment, we talk about that on this channel all the time. But in a lot of cases, it's not about that. It's just about savings. And so at the end of the day, they were able to get their money back out if they wanted to. And they now have a good feeling, but it took 10 years. So my third point is beware of making bad purchases. And that actually circles back into my first point, which is it's a long game. You got to take time to learn what a good purchase is versus a bad purchase for your unique set of circumstances. So I'm doing my best to educate and share some of my experiences. I'm not the best at it. I'm doing what I can. And so now we're gonna wrap that up and move into the review portion. Hopefully you guys got something out of my rant. So I thought it was about time to bring out another Germania coin. And I really like this one. This is a Fafnir coin. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the 2 coins together. This is another 2 coin set, just like the Fenrir coin that you see there. Part of the Beasts series from the Germania Mint. I'm just going to look at one side at a time because putting them together, it's very hard to see the details, and then we'll put them together at the end. So what you can see, this is a dragon, a very snakish looking dragon called Fafnir. It is a very cool coin. It's got this leathery background, really does look good. You can see there it says 1 ounce AG 9999 fine. So it is a 4/9 fine private mint piece. Really cool design. On its own, this is a neat design. But what really sets this coin off is when we look at the reverse. The reverse is matching, right? We connect the tail. It's very hard to see inside these scales. Cameras, when certain types of silver are just too shiny, they really struggle to pick up some of the details. But you can see the scales. They've got some proof finish, some more matted finish. The crest is there in the background, the standard Germania crest. I mean, a really fantastic coin. I have zero complaints about the design of this thing, but this is the magic right here. When you take these 2 coins, shouldn't be doing this with cotton gloves, I'm gonna drop it, and you put them together, and you get this magnificent picture. And that really just took those coins from a 8 out of 10 to an 11, right? Just really fantastic. I actually like this coin better than the Fenrir, the dog you see in the background. We've reviewed that previously. To me, this is the one to have. I really hope they come out with a third option in this series, because this 2 coin thing is just one of my favorite ideas. That really, this is what Germania Mint excels at to me, is they just do exciting and exceptional things. I've had a little more disappointment with them lately, but I still think they're fantastic. So guys, this is a really cool coin. I watched for it for years because unfortunately I wasn't aware of the series when it came out. I feel paying $100 an ounce was an okay price for my circumstances. I'm not saying I'd recommend that for everyone, but wow, what a fantastic coin. Let me know what you guys think, or pair of coins, I guess you could say. So for me, this is gonna win out over the Fenrir. It's time to put Fenrir away. But one more thing before I set these up to look at, I wanna turn your attention to the sides, and you're gonna notice that this one here, very hard to see, has some, you think it might be milk spotting, but what that actually is the oil off people's fingers who have touched the reeded edge. Okay, because this one unfortunately did not come in a Germania case. Somebody had pulled it out and touched it. This coin, if you'll look, doesn't have that problem. I've never touched this one. This one is clean. That is just something to be aware of when you're buying these collectibles. If you touch without gloves, it is going to leave a mark. Even if it's not milk spotting, even if it's just for a second, it will leave a mark. I've got lots of examples of that. And so you do need to be careful. So again, I'm going to do a video on gloves at some point, because cotton is really not the ideal for several reasons. I digress. So let's just go ahead and put this here while we're wrapping things up. Let's switch the Fenrir out for the Fafnir. Of course, these do come with a certificate of authenticity. And again, only 25,000 minted. I really do like these certificates. I know they're not the be-all, end-all. You can, of course, test if it's real silver or not. It just adds a little bit more to it. And I'm just going to tuck that right back here until such a time as we replace that coin in the future. So we'll say goodbye to the Fenrir coin. And one last point, I guess I should say while we're looking at these, I really like how the Fenrir looks good kind of sideways, but the Fafnir is more of a vertical coin, which I just think adds a lot to the diversity of the coins, right? You can kind of have one up and one sideways. I think they're cool. I highly recommend these coins. So with that is my review. I really, really appreciate you guys watching. Again, passing 1776 subscribers was massively appreciated. If you want to leave me a comment and you have nothing to say, I always appreciate it. You just want to support the channel. Today's word will be dragon. And of course, with that, feel free to give me a like. This has been The Anecdotal Economist. That's my 2 ounces worth. Remember, I'm pulling for you. And we're all in this together.
Kilogram, you're the dragon, you're the rabbit.
Okay, let's look at the money side now. Watch as I pull this bad boy out of here. Absolutely stunning once you get it out of the case. Feeling the weight of this in my hand. Oh, that's such a good feeling.
I never had enough gold.